Romans 15. As Christians, we're to be focused upon Christ, and especially focused upon his love for us shown through his death on the cross. This doesn't mean that we look at him there and simply think that, oh, well, I'm okay now, he did it for me. In one sense, yes, that is the case. But to be a Christian is to live with the same spirit which he had there. To be absolutely convicted that he hung there on a tree trunk on a day in April, on a Friday afternoon, on a hill outside Jerusalem, 2,000 years ago, for me. And that he there is my inspiration in daily life. He there, all those years ago, is to become the pattern for my thinking, my actions, my character. So here in Romans 15, Paul gives us an example of this. He says, now we that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves. Let each of us please his neighbour for his good, to encourage him. For Christ also did not please himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproached you fell upon me. Paul quotes some words about Jesus on the cross, about how there he did not please himself, but rather died for the weak. And Paul then says that this is how we ought to be. Elsewhere, Paul says that we should have the same mind in us which Jesus had at the time of his death. Now, that's a massive request, a very high level to even think about. But this is the invitation of true Christianity, of truly being like Christ, to have his mind, to have his attitudes, even the mind that he had at the time of his death. We're all naturally rather impatient with those that are weaker than us. Especially is that true, I think, in spiritual matters. But we were weak, and we still are weak. And Jesus died for us while we were yet sinners, before we even existed. And we, in the same way, we're to take the initiative in entering the lives of others to try to save them. We're not to love just those who love us, to be patient with those who are strong as we imagine, who are on our level as we think. We are to carry the weaknesses of the weak, just as Jesus carried our sins and weaknesses on the cross. This is why we encounter weak people in our lives, sinners, annoying people, people who just don't get it. We're to be patient with them, to carry them as Jesus carried us, because that is finally what it is to be a Christian.